Podcast, episode 92. Before we get into it, please, I'll keep begging you guys, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're at 7,500 subscribers. We're huge. I don't know if it's the Caleb hype or what, or you guys finally coming over to a better programming. But like I said, we've got a lot of subscribers the last 2-3 months. So keep up the good work. But without further ado, we'll jump into another disheartening Bears loss. 2019 to the Packers. You guys all saw it. Bears get a field goal blocked as time runs out after a questionable decision by the not fired Coach Eberflus to not get any more yards after Caleb did what we harped on Justin for not being able to do and drive down the field with the game on the line and put us in position to win. And he, as much as I've been on his ass the last few games, no homo, no diddy, whatever you want to say, don't find me NBA. But he did his thing, drove us down the field, great throw on fourth down, poised. The offense looked a little bit better. Obviously, 19 points isn't enough. Even if he makes it, 22 isn't enough. So there's things we got to do to work on there. But like I said, yeah, just a tough loss. I'm honestly just kind of numb to it because I expected a loss. I expected a blowout. And although they got my hopes up, honestly, we were going back and forth all game. I never even said anything. I just had a feeling it wasn't going to go. I thought he was just going to miss it. I really did. I just like the way things have been going. Bears versus Packers, or not historically, but the last 6 years. So honestly, the block didn't even hurt me that much. I mean, it sucks to lose the game, and Eberflus is a clown, but I'm like this. Even with the win there, I felt like the season was over. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is two games now in the last month. This game in Washington where Caleb has led a game-winning drive, essentially, what should have been a game-winning drive, only to have it taken away from him because of coaching mistakes. Um, I can see, I understand Eberflus's reasoning as to why he didn't go for the yards. However, Jim Harbaugh literally later on in the day had the exact same situation with the Chargers. Didn't he was at the 29, almost the exact same spot the Bears were in, and he ran the ball and J.K. Dobbins took it in for a touchdown. You just never know what's going to happen on these plays, right? Um, it is disheartening. You had over 30, it was like 38 seconds or something like that, plus a timeout. You have to try to get more yards. And Cairo Santos prefers it on the right hash. Not that that would have made a difference, but you were on the left hash. You could have at least ran a play to the right side to see if you can get a couple more yards and put it on the right hash the way he likes it. And Eberflus didn't do that. We talk about this week after week after week after week now. It's just it's a broken record. These late game gaffes by Matt Eberflus, situational coaching. He's horrible at
When
it.
to challenge, when not
Absolutely
to
horrible.
challenge.
It was. I mean, I can understand the challenge there with the Christian Watson catch. I got that. I'm not gonna egg on him for that. It
I don't
was
know
it
if
was
egg on him's a word, but I
small.
think he should have. I just think it was questionable enough. I think that's one of some of the challenges he's done early in the year were clearly there were a loss. That one, I don't know. They might turn it. I don't know. It's just
He did challenge it, and
yeah,
they kept it. You know what I'm saying? They kept the ruling on field. It was close
yeah. It's
enough
a
to
good
where
challenge. But
I'm not gonna blame him for that, but
I
you got
will,
to
like
get.
I said, I don't accept his explanation for not running another play. It's a what was it, a 49-yard field goal? We had
46.
36, 40. I say line up, and if you don't like what you see, then don't run a fucking play. But line up. The defense might be out of it, like you said, kind of how the Bengals were. You run a play, everyone's standing around being lazy, and you take it into the house, or like you push for two more, get on the right hash for 2 more yards. I don't know, but like
The offense wanted to go. The offense wanted to go. And Caleb was hot. Thomas Brown called a good game. A lot of plays made sense. That's your rookie quarterback. That's your guy. Trust him with the ball in his hands. I mean,
I mean, yeah,
you
you got to
you gotta
throw
try
it,
to get
run it,
something.
put
You
Roschon
gotta,
in.
yeah,
I did like to
you
see
gotta try to
that.
get
That was one
something.
thing I thought Thomas Brown did good, getting Roschon in there some more. And I think that will light a fire under Swift to run more north and south. I think a lot of times he's missing the holes because he's trying to make a big play. Not to say the blocking is perfect, but he's not taking the 3 yards that are there.
Well,
And
there's nobody that does it better right now in terms of a two running back tandem than Detroit, and I think Thomas Brown's kind of seeing what Ben Johnson's doing in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's trying to incorporate that into the offensive game plan, which I like. Like you said, Roshan got more touches. It wasn't just goal line touches, 2 carries a game. He got some touches, and he's a bruiser. You know what I'm saying? The more he gets the rock, the harder he runs, and he's the kind of back that's going to wear down a defense because he's just pounding at you and pounding at you and pounding at you. And DeAndre Swift's a really good speed back, change of option back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Roshan was in there, pass blocking, did
I was
really
going to say,
well.
I think Roschon's really good on the backfield too. So it's this thing where it's like, it's not like Lindell White and Chris Johnson, where like Roschon comes in, you're like, this is going to be an I form run up the middle. Like Roschon can do a lot of things with the ball. I just think he has the propensity to run north and south, like get his pads level and just run forward for the yards that are there. And sometimes Swift kind of bounces it. He'll see, there's only 2 yards there. I'm going to bounce it and then get no yards or a -1 for no, not like it was going to be a great run. Just got to take what you got to give there. Because like you said, we got a rookie quarterback. We want to be in favorable down and distances. So he's not getting pressured and getting sacked. I think that was the best thing that they did. Like I said, to start off, even if he does make the field goal, we beat the Packers. 22 just isn't enough with a generational quarterback, even rookie or not.
Well, what
Two
do you expect from them? I mean, what's the
two
NFL
Pro
average?
Bowl. I don't
What's
know.
the NFL average in points per game? I mean, not every team in the league is going to score 28 points a game.
Not 28. I'm just saying
You know what I'm saying?
25.
Well,
I'm not saying 30, but like
I mean,
that's not enough. Like
22 points should be enough for any NFL offense with a good defense to
I
win a
was
football.
looking at the games from last week. If I think 22 would have only been enough to win 2 of the games.
Well, who are the other teams? Who
All
scored
the
less
teams in the NFL.
who scored 22 who scored less than 22 points? You're saying all but 2 teams in the NFL scored
Oh,
less than 22 points last week.
let's see. 22, I guess, would have been enough to beat the Chiefs by 1. Um,
It
the
would have been good to
Jags.
beat the Rams. It would have been good enough to beat the Cowboys, the Jets, the Titans, the Colts, the Vikings and the Jaguars, the Falcons and the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Broncos and the Chiefs, the Giants and the Panthers.
Not the Broncos. Didn't the Broncos score like 40?
No, not last week. This week they did.
That's what I'm talking about this week. Like the
Oh,
this
this
week.
week, but still 20. It goes a
Well,
week to week basis.
I don't
22
know.
points on an average is good enough. It should be good enough with your defense to win multiple games. Like there's not a whole bunch of teams that are lighting the world on fire, scoring 25, 20 points per game. How many teams in the league right now are averaging 25 points per game? How
I
many?
could let's see. Points per game. NFL. I'm just saying I know holding people under 21 is very good. So like uh that in that sense.
All right, so there's 8 teams in the NFL that are scoring 25 points or more in the NFL. Detroit is number one.
We're
Baltimore
talking
is number
about
two.
22. Yeah, well, yeah, well, it said 22. I said
Even
22 was enough.
22 is league average.
That's what I'm
22
saying. That's
is
not
league
enough. We
average.
don't want to be average. We want to be a
I'm
playoff
not.
team.
I'm not saying that, but you're saying 22 isn't enough to win games. Let me point
Against
out
good
these
teams
teams
is
that
what I
are.
mean. Like again, that's what I mean. Yes, it'll be enough
But
to beat
hold
the
on,
Jags.
the Chargers are averaging 22 points a game. By the way, they're 7-3. Atlanta.
They have the
I mean,
best
Atlanta's,
defense in the league, though.
Atlanta's
Like
eh,
that.
but they still got a good defense. They're
Yeah,
averaging 22 points. But that's what I'm saying is you don't need to score 25 points per game when you have a good defense.
we can't rely on them to win us every game.
But we can't rely on the offense to score 25 points a game or more either.
No, sometimes. I mean, can we?
Like,
Do they do it sometimes against somebody besides the Jags? Like you got to score 25 points against the good teams. The Buffalo needed to score more than that to beat those Chiefs. Like if you want to beat good teams, you got to put up. Like the Chiefs just lost to the Buffalo because they couldn't score enough because you can't hold people under 21 every week, even if you have the best defense in the league. Like that's what I mean, and we have to figure out that part of it where we're getting in the end zone more. And
I will agree with you with that, but I'm just saying as a whole, we want to see the offense score more points. We want to be, especially against good defenses. This week coming up, we have Minnesota. 22 points may or may not be good enough to beat Minnesota. Who knows? Minnesota's hit or miss.
yeah, they're hit
They're
or
a
miss.
really good defense. They're
It's
a
not going to be
really
enough
good.
to beat Detroit.
No,
It won't be
no,
enough to beat
no,
Philly.
no. It's not. I mean, right now it seems like 40 points isn't good enough to beat Detroit.
I
Detroit
mean, we
right
play
now.
them tight, so we'll see. I mean, we. I don't. They're not going to score 50 on us. I don't see that. But they're going to score 28 to 30 for sure. Um, and that's all. And yes, I understand what I'm saying. I guess I'm being a little hyperbolic saying 22 isn't good enough, but like every game, like if your 22 is your ceiling, then every game's going to be coming down to a last minute kick. So it's got to
I
be
don't.
like you
A
got.
win's a win.
I mean, a win is a win, but we didn't get the win. So it's like if we would have scored a
No,
touchdown, if we would have scored a touchdown, we wouldn't be worried about field goals. Um, but all in all, it wasn't that bad of a game. The offense was a lot better, a lot less five-step drop, weird things. I think they did a good job of getting running routes to people that they're good at. Keelan Allen over the middle of the field. We got Cole Kmet the ball. He got everybody involved. DJ Moore with some screens where he could run after catch. It looked like the guys were blocking. Keenan Allen a couple good blocks on screens where the last few years, honestly, the Bears have just been terrible at screen blocking, so we've been tired of it. But
here, here, here here's where this made all the difference in the world. One, the screens were ran to the short side of the field, so the offensive linemen had a shorter distance to go in order to get to their blocks. That was key number one. That was an adjustment that Thomas Brown made that made all the difference in the world on these wide receiver screens. That and they were quick to the point where the wide receiver screens weren't coming from the outside wide receiver, DJ Moore, you know what I'm saying? Like he was in motion in the slot, quick pass.
yeah,
Those were those wide receiver screens. Number two, Caleb Williams got rid of the ball in like 2.4
yes,
like
so much better.
2.34 seconds or something like that, which is the fastest he's done all season long. In the first half, he averaged less than 2 seconds getting the ball out of his hands, which has been the quickest out of any quarterback in the NFL this year. That was the big difference. He wasn't afraid to pull the trigger on throws. He trusted his instincts. He trusted his gut. First read, if it wasn't there, first, second read, if they weren't there, he was taking off. And you know what? That's what he's got to do for a few weeks to build up that confidence, let that offensive line kind of come together because these injuries to the offensive line and just throwing together a makeshift offensive line isn't helping anybody.
No, last week
I,
that I mean we shit the bed against the Patriots, but we did have two backup. I think like one of the tackles was third string. Um, but I agree with you said, and they did. Caleb did need to run more. Obviously, we don't want him to be Lamar Jackson. We don't want him obviously to be what Justin Fields was for us. But you have to show that I will do this if you don't spy me. If you don't rush, like they were just pinning their ears back. Everybody's pinning their ears back and rushing and not caring if and Caleb's not wanting to run. So and this is the NFL. You can't just do a spin move and run laterally. They're going to catch you. So like in
watch
college and now it's like the kid he's faster like honestly he's faster than I thought.
Yeah,
um
all he's got to do is watch film of Josh Allen. Forget
yes,
emulating your game after Aaron Rodgers, right?
yeah,
I mean, Josh Allen's a freak. He's 6'5", he's a big guy, but he's got wheels and he's got a cannon for an arm. But look what he did against Kansas City. The second best defense in the NFL, if you're talking about numbers, he literally eyes down the field while still running. If nothing was open, he was taking off.
yes,
And that's just how, and he made like three good throws on the run while running vertically, not horizontally, not running towards the sidelines. He was running to get yards, looking up the field the whole time. Granted, he may have been looking at one guy, but if that one guy was open, he was throwing it. If not, he was taking off. He had a 27-yard touchdown scamper or whatever to,
yeah,
before
it was
the
a
end
good
of the day,
run.
which like,
I mean that was the difference in the offense just when Caleb will run, and like I said he thinks he's Aaron Rodgers and he's looking down the field and he likes to buy himself more time and run laterally in the pocket and make an off balance throw, but it's like no, just take off, get your 8 yards. Then they'll start rushing you with a little respect and you'll have more time in the pocket when they're keeping lane integrity. And that was the one thing we did harp on Justin about was like they were rushing to keep him in the pocket, and he was being overwhelmed by it. I
Yeah,
mean,
just
and
keep yourself ahead of the sticks.
yeah,
That's
and
all you need to do. And penalties were down. There were some stupid penalties. I mean, absolutely atrocious, just
yes,
disgusting penalties that
coaching stuff.
I sent you messages. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me with these penalties. And I had a little bit. I All right. So I know that last week I said we were going to get absolutely blown out. And then
That's
literally
not.
as
I
I was
mean,
making
I don't think there's a single
well,
Bears
as I
fan
was
who
making
didn't
my
think that.
bets, as I was making my bets for the game, for that parlay, I sat there and I really thought about it. I really did. I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe they get a boost, this, that, and the other. And I was sitting watching the TV, and like you said, Sean, that field goal opportunity came up towards the end of the game. I literally looked over at my wife and I said, why are they not running another play? Not that she knew what the fuck I was talking about, but I'm just, just talking. I was like, they
Speaking
need to
in the
run another
universe,
play. They need to run. I got up, I walked behind the couch, and she's like, "Where are you going? The game's not over yet." I was like, "It's over. They're not going to make this field goal." And
yeah,
then
I had a feeling it's
literally,
just gonna miss it.
I sat there and I watched it happen, and the first reaction I had was I just started laughing. I just started breaking out in laughter because I'm like, what other way? Next week's gonna be some other kind of creative way that they're gonna, it's gonna be like a last second play or whatever it is. They're gonna try to lateral the ball back or some shit. Minnesota's gonna pick it up and run it in for a touchdown and win the game. They will come up with a new creative way to blow the game at the end, and
And
it's so
and
frustrating.
like I messaged you, they didn't fire Eberflus, and they gave him a chance to ruin another game, and he literally did it a week after they spared him. He did it multiple times last year. He's done it this year already. And when it matters most, when he affects the game more times than any, he does something stupid and literally costs us the game when the game's on the line. And I blame nobody but Ryan Poles. Like I'm done with the excuses for him, and sure, maybe he doesn't get fired at the end of the year, but this season is all on him. I mean, we can't blame it on Caleb. He's a rookie quarterback. I would. I mean, I ultimately I blame it on Eberflus, but nobody but Ryan Poles wanted to keep Matt Eberflus. Like maybe a couple guys in the locker room, but none of the fan base did. I guess maybe the McCaskeys because they don't want to. I'm assuming they would have had to pay him something if they fired him.
Oh, they're still
But
gonna have to pay him.
yes, but um, this is a Poles decision. This is I'm assuming anybody who advises him probably told him to move on. You're getting a new quarterback. It was just an impossible situation for everybody, and it's come back to bite us.
I
Um,
want I want to present this to you because I know I messaged you earlier in the week about it. But now that we have the open forum to talk about it, so last week you brought up the question. You said who would I who was at the top of my head coaching candidates if Eberflus were to get fired and going into next year, blah 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 blah. And I sent you a message. Um, I want to talk about it if that's okay with you.
yeah.
So Barstool Sports recently just hired John Gruden to be part of their team over there at Barstool. Um, I've always kind of been a fan of Gruden. The man loves football. He brings a certain intensity. He knows the game. He just seems very, 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 very into it.
All agree.
For you as a football fan, as well as being a person of color, has that stench of the John Gruden email scandal, quote unquote, has that gone away enough for you to consider John Gruden as a head coach?
Well, for me personally, I never saw it as that big of a deal. I agree with you. He loves football. He's a football guy, and those are the type of guys I like. I would love to have somebody like John Gruden. My main harp about the Bears is we have no culture. We have no leadership. We have no guy that's going to go up on the mic and not throw anybody under the bus. John Gruden will go up there and say, "This is my fault." Behind closed doors, he's going to fucking tear into you. But Eberflus, I think, is a coward in a sense, not in like a real, just when it comes to accountability in football sense. Because I don't know as a man, but I just think he takes the easy way out. He lacks accountability. He gives cookie cutter answers when a fool knows he cost us that game. And wins are hard to come by in the NFL for a guy who's not even on the field to be costing us so much. But to get back, we're talking about John Gruden. I would love to have John Gruden. I thought it was a silly thing that they kicked him out of the NFL for. Anybody, like I said, me and you, I'm only half, obviously, but me and you grew up in football culture. Me and you were friends. I don't know who, like, if he's cool with that guy. He made an insensitive racist joke, but haven't we all, like if you've got multiracial friends, especially when it comes to football, I know football's a melting pot. There's white, black, everybody's playing together. So I don't know. And John Gruden seems like one of the boys. So I don't, again, like, and even if he meant it, I honestly really don't care that much because it's not like it bleeds into what he's doing on the football field. None of his players have ever said anything like they felt like he was racist or anything of that nature, or he was treating anybody differently. So if he made an insensitive racial joke about some guy he didn't like, who cares? Like, this is football and it's about winning. So I would love to have somebody like John Gruden. I think John Gruden is like the opposite personality. I don't know about personality wise, but he's like the R-rated version of Harbaugh. Like, these guys love football, they breathe it. They, you know what I mean. They're best friends with their quarterbacks. They take the arrows for him, and they lead usually winning teams. I think when he was on the Raiders, Mike Mayock, uh, although he thinks he's a draft expert, he was a terrible GM. They drafted all the wrong people. All
Yeah.
those guys turned out to be busts and didn't pan out, and John Gruden paid the price for it.
Now, I know what I said last week about personalities and everything with Bears, in terms of, bringing in a coach that might, overshadow the ownership group and everything else like that. There was also, and we talked about it in the offseason as well, there was also history there between John Harbaugh and Kevin Warren. Of course, when Kevin Warren was the Big Ten commissioner and everything that was going on with John Harbaugh, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Maybe Kevin Warren kind of put the kibosh on the whole John Harbaugh thing to, or Jim Harbaugh to the Bears. But if if Kevin Warren, so to speak, were to come in, sit down, do you think he commands that respect from the McCaskeys, who put him in this position to be president anyway? If Kevin Warren presents to McCaskey and Poles, and obviously this is going to be Poles' decision, but if they run it up the ladder and Kevin Warren's like, "Listen, George, this is our decision. We're bringing on John Gruden." Does that sit well with ownership? Do you think that happens, or
I mean, in the future, I would say no, but I mean, do these losses not sting like that? I mean, this isn't 1990 anymore. They have to see all the hate that's coming in. Like, it's not even the early 2000s anymore. Like, social media is a thing. I know that you can't hide from it. You have to, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're not on Twitter scrolling as much as you and I are, but I'm assuming they see the things. I mean, if they're running a business, they're looking up what people think about their organization, and it's not good.
well,
Um,
we also got to remember too that it's not just George; it's also 104-year-old Virginia McCaskey, which is why Hard Knocks was so heavily edited, so to speak, because she does not like the profanity. She doesn't like that kind of stuff. So my whole thing is if mommy tells George, "I don't want that," does George veto it, even though he's given complete football power over to Kevin Warren and Ryan
I'd be
Poles?
surprised if she was that knowledgeable on the personality of coaches. It's one thing to say I don't like swearing, but it's another thing for her to be in tune with who the foul mouth coaches are. But it can't. I like Eberflus. It can't be another Eberflus type of guy. Um, no offense to Ben Johnson, but I think he is along those lines where he's very good at his job, but I don't know if he is a leader of men. Hopefully, I mean, I know you like to think that. Guessing maybe Dan Campbell rubbed off on him a little bit, possibly, but maybe he's just a good play caller. I don't know. And right now, I don't want to roll the dice anymore. I don't want to roll. But we need somebody who knows what he's doing. I know personally, to me, I like Belichick a lot. I don't know if that's the move. I don't even know if he would want to come to Chicago. There'll be some better organizations and some nicer weather places that he might want to go to. But I
They
think
could
somebody,
do they
Mike
could do the
Vrabel,
most. Yeah, Mike Vrabel is a good pick.
and I think, and I don't think I think he got dealt a bad hand in Tennessee. They didn't have a good team. I think he did the best of what he had. They were a couple drives away from going to the AFC Championship or Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Um, but I think he demands respect. I think he's a competent coach. I think he's been in this league a long time, so he can hire the right people to help him. I think he's got a lot of connections. But again, like I said, I think Ben Johnson is a great OC, and I think if they were going to do that, they should have did it last year because then our rookie quarterback and rookie coach could have worked out the kinks together. Now
They
again,
have
we
the
keep our
opportunity. They may have the opportunity to do the most Chicago Bears thing ever, Sean. I'm not saying it would happen, but nothing would surprise me in this world anymore. Hot name on the head coaching train, so to speak. Some talks about him going to the Jets to possibly become the Jets head coach in the offseason. Matt Nagy. I just think that would be so fucking funny. It would never happen. But like if you want to epitomize everything that this franchise is doing over the last several years, that would be it.
if
But
we're
no,
gonna
I
if we're
agree
gonna
with you.
relapse, I'd take Lovey over Nagy.
I like Vrabel. Like I was
He
saying,
just
if
seems
things
realistic too. I think it's like Ben Johnson. Like I think Belichick would be. I think is perfect. I think personally, um, but I don't think he's gonna want to come to the Bears.
well,
I
like I
think
said, if he gets fired in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's at the top of my list. Only because Stefanski's already a coach of the year. He's proven
I
that
don't
he can
think we're
coach
gonna get
quarterbacks.
anybody who just got fired from their team this year.
We should. If it's Kevin Stefanski, if he's
I'm
fired,
not saying anything bad about Stefanski. I'm just saying like what I think, who I think
100% he
will
should.
be on the top of the list. I think Vrabel will be a top candidate for everybody. Um, I mean, is Mike McCarthy done? I mean,
I don't want McCarthy.
I
That's
don't know. The Cowboys are not winning the Super Bowl, but they won. This will be the first year they've won 12 games in like half a decade.
doesn't matter. Does not
That
matter.
does matter.
No, it doesn't. You're bringing a coach in to win championships. If you just want to
No,
go to the playoffs every year without it,
no. I think there's steps though.
everybody
I
knows
think there's
Dallas isn't
steps.
going to, everybody knows Dallas is going to choke in the playoffs. Everybody knows that. Why? Because Mike McCarthy is just as bad situationally as Matt Eberflus is, except he does it when the games matter the most in the playoffs. He's a great regular season coach.
They usually get
Great
blown out in the
regular
playoffs.
season coach.
Well, I'm just saying is like what I've said before. I think we're skipping steps. We're not even a playoff team to be frowning on a coach that won 11 games plus every year because that's not good enough. That's not the end goal. Like we're skipping a step. I agree with you. I want to win championships, but like you can't win a championship. You can't even be a playoff fringe team. Like we're so far beyond making the Super Bowl, winning it. Like
Yeah, but you don't bring in you don't to take the next step. You don't bring in a guy. No,
I mean,
I
he
see
did
what you're
fine
saying.
in Green Bay, so it's like maybe that was what he did in fucking
I
Dallas.
I see what you're saying, and maybe a guy like that that's had previous success.
Oh, you know what
Sure,
somebody said to me? I don't know. Was it you? I don't think it was you. Somebody said this to me, and the name had completely skipped my mind, and I don't know why. Pete Carroll. Um,
he's still got well, he's got a role in Seattle.
yeah, but like
In
just like in his
terms of the
advisor or
front
some shit.
office,
Yeah,
I don't think he would do it.
is he done? I don't know. I think I would like Pete
From what I
Carroll a lot
understand, I
too.
know he got ran out. He got forced into, retirement. But I don't think Seattle lets him go without compensation.
Well, I mean, did they fire him?
No, he retired. He was
Oh,
for he there was reports that he got forced to retire.
oh.
But they gave him a front office role, so you would still need to give Seattle compensation
Well, I mean, I don't want to give.
for
Like I said
yeah.
before, I don't want to give up anything for coach. So definitely. But to get back to what sparked all this, I don't think John Gruden will be in the NFL next year. I think
He
the NFL.
should.
I'm not, and I'm not saying I think he should. I like John Gruden a lot. I think he's a football guy. And I think the NFL as a whole are lacking some of those personalities at the coaching spot that we grew up with. And not saying there has to be him, but there just aren't any. These younger generation of coaches are more analytical, or they're like stoic linebackers, ex linebackers who don't have much personality. But I think the NFL, the Bears could use a guy like John Gruden, and the NFL for sure can. And when they see him on Barstool every fucking week, they're gonna realize how much they're missing out because he, most of the ESPN anchors, and I like a lot of them, are as half as entertaining as John Gruden is when it
Yeah,
comes
they
to
can't hold a candle
explain, like
to
being entertaining, knowing what the fuck you're talking about. Like, there's not many people. Like Brady's really good. It was awesome to see him call the Bears game. Brady's great. He's very knowledgeable. Just I think a more refined, interesting version of Romo. Um, but yeah, it was nice to see Tom Brady calling the game, and he was pointing out a lot of things with Caleb and the Bears in general that the normal person wouldn't even be thinking about. A lot of fucking jet sweeps. I hope to see Gruden back. It's good to see him on Barstool and get back where the NFL. I know Dave Portnoy is big anti-establishment. He's bringing back people that the NFL tried to cancel and make us forget about. But football fans love John Gruden, and even if I thought he meant what he said maliciously, I think John Gruden has done so much for the NFL and football in general that he deserves a second and a third chance. Nobody got hurt. He said some distasteful words, and I think he's given his time and energy more than enough to the NFL for them to. But I think at least maybe 1 or 2 more years before they really get over it. I think a lot of people are still hurt on the presidency. So Trump went in, then they're like, you know what, Trump won, we're bringing Gruden back. Everybody's back now. So I think they'll hold off on it for a year or two. But I think oh wow, he caught that. But I do think he will be back, and I think he deserves it. And I think he's just better than a lot of these guys who have jobs. Matt Eberflus is a perfect example of a guy who had a job for 3 years, who doesn't hold a candle to John Gruden when it comes to coaching football and developing players and leading a team. And Eberflus isn't the only one. Another person, even though I said that I don't think the Bears are going to hire somebody who gets fired this year, but somebody I would like them to look at, even though he hasn't been doing too well where he's at, Doug Pederson. That's who I really wanted when we got Eberflus was Doug Pederson. I thought he would have been a perfect fit with Justin. I think he'd be a good fit with Caleb, but he got scooped up really quick. But I think the Jags are, like the Bears, a terribly run organization, and the Jags have an even worse roster than we do. Well, our roster's not that bad now, but just over the few years, I mean, like Christian Kirk's the best wide receiver, and he was a guy they had to overpay from somebody else's team.
Well, that's the thing too with a guy like John Gruden is that you know that the names he's going to bring with him on his staff
Yes,
are,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and like if Pederson, let's say just hypothetically, Pederson gets fired, he's not going back to college. You hire Gruden, maybe Pederson joins the Bears staff as an offensive coordinator for a year or two.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I like Vrabel. Vrabel
big name
connected
coaches
people like
big
him.
Name coordinators.
Yes, he's got a lot of friends. And he'll do what he's good at doing, and then hopefully they hire the right guy. But we're just in a like Thomas Brown isn't going to be the OC next year unless he does so good they hire him as the head coach. So it's like we've lost that connection.
I would certainly hope not.
Yes, and I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying like we can already pencil in that Caleb's going to be on head coach number 2 and OC number 2 on year number 2. So we can pencil that in. So it's like I would like it to be some people with some experience, and nothing against Ben Johnson. I think he calls a hell of a game, but I don't like we were talking about. I don't think he's got a lot of friends. I don't think there's not a lot of experience or guys are gonna want to come work underneath a guy who's got way more experience than them, or way less experience than them. I mean, like, is he going to be able to get somebody like a Vic Fangio to come be his DC? Like, I don't know.
Well, we don't know because we don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm guessing that somebody with a bigger name is going to have an easier time getting some of these guys to come coach with them. I'm not saying Ben Johnson can't or he won't. I'm just saying maybe he doesn't want, like, if you are Ben Johnson, do you want a coach who's more
well, he's going to call the offensive plays.
The plays, but I'm just saying, do you want somebody who's got more credentials than you in general on the team where guys are looking to him? Like, if he's
Why wouldn't you, though? Matt Nagy did it with Vic Fangio, even though Vic Fangio was, brought on. He was brought on the year before, and he stayed on when Matt Nagy was hired. But why wouldn't you want that? You know what I'm saying? Because
no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't want it. I'm just saying these are things people are looking at. That's why guys don't take good jobs under lame duck coaches. You have to be thinking about when things happen, how are they going to affect you?
Well, you got to think about it this way: for a coordinator, if the Bears hire Ben Johnson, right, or whoever the new coach is, doesn't necessarily have to be Ben Johnson. You're getting 3 years. So why wouldn't you, in terms of job security, why wouldn't you at least entertain that idea? Unless you're an absolute failure at your job, like Luke Getsy, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're an offensive coordinator, you don't have to worry about that because Ben Johnson's going to be calling the plays. Defensive coordinator might be a little bit different, but offensive coordinator, you're pretty much safe for those 3 years that Ben Johnson is your head coach, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whoever. So I think that I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But is an established guy going to want to be his underling?
Well, it's going to be very attractive because you have Caleb, you have all this cap space, and then you got these picks. You got 3 picks. If the dominoes fall the way that they have been falling over the last several weeks, you're probably looking at another top 10 pick. So not only do you have your own top 10 pick in the first round, but you also have Carolina's top 5
Oh,
pick
I
in the
don't think
second
we'll be
round.
top 10.
If you lose out, and I'm not saying they're going to, I'm saying if it continues to go the way that it has been over the last several weeks, where you're just losing games, what is it, 6 games? How many games max do you see them winning on the schedule right now?
Um, Last week I was
Two,
less optimistic, but I don't know. Like, I think we could. Well,
two.
I think we'll split with the Vikings, and yeah, maybe three. I should
So
probably go three.
you're still seven
Yeah, but
wins.
I think that'll put us
What
at like
what get what got
15.
you 7 wins last year? Got you number 9.
Yeah, but I think a lot. I think people are worse this year. I don't know. I was just saying, we're ranked like 16 right now, or some shit like that. 15 right
Well,
now.
that's because we're 4-6. But if we get 7 wins,
Yeah,
you
but the
know what I'm
other
saying?
teams are gonna like. If you're
Okay,
saying if
so
we
10,
keep
so
up,
10, 11, 12.
yeah,
Either way, you're
yeah,
still in the top half of the first
yes,
round.
yes.
You got Carolina's top 10 second round pick, and you got a mid round second round pick. You got 3 picks within like 30 picks of each other. That's a
Yeah.
pretty damn good draft.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, but they're all rookies, so it's like I don't. If they're and it's a
But you can
coach, it's
get
a coach, not a
impactful.
GM. A coach, not a
You,
GM, too.
but it doesn't matter. That's still attractive to a coach because you're getting impactful players early on in the draft, and you have multiple picks at it.
I mean, Poles is picking though, so reality,
You don't think that
none of
Matt
them will be
Eberflus
impactful.
you don't think Matt Eberflus had any kind of input on the draft picks?
Mm, I guess because I think he's an idiot. Then yes, if he thought they should pick Rome
He's in the
Odunze.
war room. He's in the war room with Ryan Poles these last 2 drafts. He has been in the draft room. You damn right he's had input
Okay, and
on
again,
draft
like,
picks.
and if he thought, then they're all idiots. If he thought we should have picked Rome Odunze.
Like
I like Rome too, and I think he is going to be good. But Jared Verse has been amazing. Dallas Turner has been really fucking good. Like, and not that defense is our problem, but our offense has been so bad. It'd be nice to have a guy that's going to get a sack every game. Sack, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? 2 sacks every 3 games, like something like that. Like, I don't know. But we will see. I don't know who the coach will be. It obviously won't be Matt Eberflus. Maybe they're keeping him so he will lose us the rest of the games this season. They're like, that's Pole's master plan. Then they'll fire him. He doesn't want to get a new head coach and give us a
it,
jolt of. Sometimes it
if
gives you a
if they're
spark.
gonna fire him, if they lose this week and then they lose badly to the Lions in Detroit, nationally televised game on Thanksgiving, I don't think he makes it. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it after the Thanksgiving game because they have 10 days until their next game. That's a little bit of a mini bye. If they're gonna do it in season, it will be after Thanksgiving. If they don't do it after Thanksgiving, it will not be done until the end of the season. That
I
is
mean,
an
at this point, I think
absolute
it won't be
promise.
anyway. Like I said, I think Poles likes Eberflus. They got the same agent, I hear. So they got a little,
Waldron had the same agent too.
and I think Poles probably has an idea that he's safe, so he's like, I'll just keep Eberflus along, fire him at the end of the year. The season's over anyway. Oh my God, he just dropped an interception. I needed that though, so that's fine. Um, I just need to kick a field goal here. Uh, but we will see. I don't. I just like I said, I'm kind of numb to the loss. It would have been nice um, to win that game. It would have gave us a little bit of hope because I think the Packers will split. I think the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions are all similarly talented. I think the Lions are a little bit better than them, but I think they're
The
just riding
Lions
them
are
up.
a lot better than them.
I don't know. I don't
We're
know.
gonna agree to disagree here. I think the Lions damn near sweep the division. They already have 2 division wins. They beat Minnesota. They beat Green Bay, and
What was the score of the Green Bay game?
I don't remember. But I think they sweep the division, or maybe they only have 1 division game. I don't know. But the way the Lions are playing right now, I don't see a team. Maybe they lose one
They
to
beat
the
the
division.
Packers 24-14.
So
And the
and that was
Vikings
in and that,
31-29.
yeah, and that was in Green Bay and in Minnesota, right? Those were both road
Yes.
games.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to sweep the division most likely.
Maybe.
And
No, I do think they're better than them, but I just don't think they're so much better. I just think they're playing hot right now. Wow, they went for it? Are you kidding me? Oh, they called a flag. Sorry, this dude. But all right. Not much else to talk about. Bears are going into who we got the Vikings next, right?
the Vikings at home.
Um,
Bears are 3.5 point dogs.
that's not bad. 3.5. We'll see. They didn't beat on the Titans too bad. The Vikings, like I said, what I've been saying all year, Sam Darnold is coming back down to reality, turning back into a pumpkin. Um, that'll definitely be JJ McCarthy's teams next year, and I think we'll be in a lot more trouble because I think JJ McCarthy is a very good quarterback. Um, and it seems like this whole class has been pretty good. I mean, Jaden Daniels is coming down to reality. Um,
Bo Nix looked real good.
Bo Nix is the one that's getting better and better each week. Drake May
Drake May's
has
looking
looked
real good.
real good. You were a big fan of Drake May, and
I
you were
was.
talking about Gruden, and Gruden was had nothing but great things to say about Drake May. He said he was positive Drake May is going to be a superstar, and that Drake May was him. You said that as well, that if you that Drake May was your number one. Um, I was more of a Jaden Daniels guy, but it looks like I don't know. Drake May's really good. Like a lot of the end, and not to be harping on Caleb after he had a good game. These guys got a lot less talent around them than he does.
Yeah, 100. Well, especially Drake May.
Especially Drake May's got nobody. Bo Nix, no, he doesn't really have anybody either. He's got one of his college wide receivers,
He's
and
got Cortland Sutton, but they got a pretty decent offensive line up
yeah,
there
they're
in that.
okay. They got McGlinchey. They draft well. They got and Sean Payton is also a good coach and a great play caller. But we'll see. The future's bright. A lot of those guys. Then we got a new batch of guys coming in next year. But before we close it, I was wondering, where do you think Deion's going to go? I mean,
I don't think he's going to be a head coach next year.
in the NFL, you don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think he's going to Florida State.
I,
I think he's
I
leaving Colorado. His son and that Travis Hunter won't be there anymore, so he's not tied down there. Florida State needs somebody, and even if he doesn't win these next two and they don't make the playoffs, I think he's proven if you gave him the right players, he could.
yeah, I think Florida State offers him the bag. Like
Yeah,
you said, his son's not going to be there anymore. Travis Hunter's not going to be there anymore. There's really no reason for him to stay at Colorado, and he has proven that he can win at the college level in the FCS. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? He's proven that he can win in the FCS at the FCS level, and you can't get any worse than Florida State's getting right now. I mean, they're getting trucked every week. It's
And
embarrassing
Deion's
to watch.
probably a great. I mean, I'm
Oh,
assuming even
he's got to be a top recruiter
yeah,
in the nation.
yes,
I mean,
especially
what young kid going into college football, if Deion Sanders shows up at your door, you're almost insta committing. I mean, it's
and especially in this day and age too, where they don't have to hide
yes,
the ex players showing up. It's like Mike Vick's at the facility one day, Warren Sapp's there every day, like
NIL,
fucking Cam Newton showing up, like
the NIL at Florida State's got to be a lot bigger
yeah,
than
and
in
I'm just saying
Colorado
not
as
even the
well.
money wise, just connections. Like before, you couldn't even have like a camp and guys show up and Tom Brady show up and do that. It'd be like against the rules. But now it's like, didn't Odell got in trouble for giving all the LSU players like a fucking AirPods a couple years ago? Like
Yep.
now it's like that shit's not a rule anymore. So it's like Deion's got the best friends. Um, and all the coolest NFL players love him. Hester, Vick, Cam Newton, all the players that kids idolize. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But some people are saying maybe he goes to the Cowboys, but if
No,
he goes to the NFL, I think it'll be one of the teams that's going to draft his son. So I don't think
I
just
don't.
if
If an NFL team gives Deion Sanders a coaching job, and I'm not saying Deion wouldn't be a good NFL coach. I'm just saying right now, at the stage of his coaching career, if you're an NFL GM, if you're an NFL owner, can you really take that risk with because it's not college, it's not it's not just about recruiting at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's about a lot of other things as well, and I don't think he's got it
I
on his
think it's
resume
less of
yet.
a risk
I don't
because you
think
could
he's got.
it's easier just fire guys in the NFL. Like you're not going to ruin your recruiting class, none of that shit. Like if he's an asshole, Urban Meyer got fired, and he had a hell of a resume, and he
Yeah,
just got
I don't
fired.
know. I don't know if he's got the resume yet to be an NFL coach.
No, I don't. I agree there. Yeah,
I
I
would
just
like to
think that
see
it
him.
doesn't
I
matter.
would like to see him at Florida State. If he can go to Florida State for say like 4 or 5 years and make them competitive, at that point, he's the number one coaching candidate in the NFL at that
Yeah. Oh
point.
yeah. Oh, I agree there. I think it'd be. I think it'd be good for college football too for him to go to Florida State. It'd be nice. They should have offered him the job after he went to Jackson State, but they were too afraid, and now it looks like it didn't work out for him. But all right, there it is, episode 92. We're almost to 100. Maybe we'll be at 10,000 subscribers by then. We got like 2 more months till we get to
Let's
that.
go.
That'll be like the end of the season. So we will see. But again, like,
We'll
follow,
start. We'll
subscribe,
start
comment.
incorporating some other stuff too. We'll start talking some Bulls. The Bulls are
Yeah,
actually
we have the Bulls actually been interesting. They won tonight. I watched half the game. I watched some of it. I watched most of the Bulls games. I'm more of a Kings fan, but I like basketball, so and I can always get access to the Bulls game. And so, but yes, the Bulls been better. Blackhawks not so much. Bedard has been not so good this year. I won't say not so good, but just not the superstar we thought he was going to be. Still getting assists, but he hasn't scored a goal in a while.
sophomore
Um,
slump.
yeah, but yeah, the Bulls have been a little interesting. Vujicic and Levine have been playing well. Levine, I think, just scored 18 in the fourth when they won. Um, hit my parlay too on the Bulls game. Not much, but yeah, we'll start talking Bulls again. There's just been a lot to talk about with the Bears. For the last couple years, they've just been tanking and throwaway seasons, and now we kind of had our hopes up, but back to that time of the year where these games don't matter anymore. So again, like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.
Adios. I'll talk to you later.